1940, war clouds were gathering over the horizon in Asia, Europe, and North Africa. Most Americans thought that having two friendly neighbors on our northern and southern borders and having two oceans between America and troubled lands would keep us out of war. The America First isolationist movement that numbered over 800,000, led by famed personalities like Henry Ford and Charles Lindbergh, were very effective in getting their message out to the general population of the nation, urging them not to get involved in the war. But many community leaders in the Los Angeles metropolitan area saw that war was coming and saw the need to increase security. These leaders, without state approval, formed the Southern California Home Defense Force that organized as a single infantry regiment with veterans, inactive Army reservists, and community leaders in leadership positions. Leading this effort was Hollywood producer and uncle of industrialist and media mogul Howard Hughes, Army Reserve Colonel Rupert Hughes. In January 1941, after the federal government and the California legislature authorized state defense forces again, the Southern California Home Defense Force was absorbed by the newly formed California State Guard as the 2nd Regiment commanded by Colonel Hughes. On August 16th of that year, the State Guard mobilized for duty at the Santa Anita racetrack. Regimental colors were presented, including those of the 1st and 9th Regiments, which are currently on display in the headquarters of the California Military Department. Almost immediately, State Guardsmen were deployed to defend the state's critical infrastructure. On December 1st of 1941, the State Guard's 9 infantry regiments mustered nearly 22,000 members. Immediately after the attack on Pearl Harbor, enlistments ballooned to the point where the State Guard grew and organized into 13 infantry regiments. With an authorized strength of 2,160, many of these regiments were manned at over 100%. Many of these regiments were also reserve companies of State Guardsmen waiting to be reassigned to active rifle companies, thus almost doubling the size of those regiments. At least 2 regiments also had cavalry troops. One notable unit, Los Angeles' 7th Regiment, was made up of African-American veterans and patriotic volunteers. Supporting this large force was an engineer regiment specializing in building field fortifications and electrical power generation. A quartermaster regiment was organized into 2 depot companies and 2 transportation companies split between Sacramento and Chino, a medical regiment with close ties to Hollywood, including actress, philanthropist, and girlfriend of media tycoon William Randolph Hearst, Captain Marion Davies, who served as the regimental patron. The regiment operated 3 hospitals in Sacramento, San Bernardino, and West Los Angeles, and a medical supply depot. The West Los Angeles Hospital was a former children's hospital donated by Captain Davies. Another Hollywood regiment, the 1st Evacuation Regiment, had many actors, including Cesar Romero, Robert Young, and Buster Keaton, who served as drivers of donated station wagons that would evacuate families from coastal Southern California inland in the event of an invasion. There was also a light tank company equipped with 3 World War I-era M1917 tanks stationed in San Francisco. Predating the founding of the Civil Air Patrol, an Air Corps of 10 observation squadrons made of private pilots and aircraft owners was formed. There was also a state naval guard made up of private ocean-going yachts and boats. Also organized as part of the Naval Guard was a Marine Rifle Company. The State Guard also took over much of the military staffing of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs and took over several state-owned civilian conservation corps and state relief agency camps. Almost immediately after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the State Guard became an active military force deployed statewide to secure the state's water supply and critical infrastructure, and as well as preparing to defend against a possible Japanese amphibious invasion. The units of the State Guard were organized in primarily urban and suburban, Southern California, San Francisco, San Diego, and Sacramento metropolitan areas, thus leaving large parts of the state without a local defense capability. In response, the California State Militia, a tertiary defense force, was formed, made up of hundreds of locally raised, licensed military companies that ranged from the platoon to battalion-sized. It also included many ethnic units, such as the California Chinese and Korean Reserves, Salinas Filipino Rifles, and the United Mexican Reserves. Overall, many of these units were poorly equipped and trained, but some managed to be quite useful military organizations. In 1943, with the threat of the feared Japanese invasion all but eliminated, the mission of the State Guard changed from the active defense of California to one of internal security. Concurrently with the new mission, the State Guard absorbed the state militia and more evenly distributed its units. The Army also stepped up logistical support to the State Guard, providing Jeeps, M3 Scout cars, M1917-30, and M250 caliber machine guns, as well as M1917 rifles and M1917 45 caliber revolvers. The State Guard was stood down in 1946 when the California National Guard was reestablished. By the end of the war, over 75,000 California men and women, including ethnic minorities, served as soldiers, sailors, and airmen in defense of their state. Their legacy stands as a testament to the dedication of ordinary citizens who rose to extraordinary challenges, proving that unity and service can safeguard the heart of our nation.